Previously, on Alignment May Vary.
Hey, the statue from the temple! Wait, I thought I lost that during the shipwreck.
Yovir, do you know what this is?
No, I cannot tell you what this is, but I can tell you that it would be better returned to the sea.
Little goblins better watch their tongues, lest I tell Ixas and he come rip it out.
Here is set the tale of Reefstar Testain the Terrible, pirate scourge of the Moon Sea, and of the desperate and unfortunate men that followed him aboard his ship, the Audacity.
No. What have you done, you outsider? You've killed our familiar. The contract is broken. The dead will rise again and swarm this island.
This was never my fight, Deimos. But I will fight it with you now.
The Moon Sea is a constant rush of motion in the storm. Ahead of the companions, through the lashing rain, they can see a ghostly sight. A ship, glowing in the midst of a magical fog. They've seen this before, back on the prison ship. This is the ship called Storm, crewed by hobgoblins and kobolds, members of the Red Hand.
Okay, I guess we found their ship. I think their captain's name's Ixas. Oh man, he probably has powers. Varric said something about him being a prophet. I bet he knows his way around a sword, too.
Varric! I forgot about him. Tell me you stuck that dagger in one of his eyes.
I'm tempted to say that we had an epic battle on the cliff's edge and that he fell into the raging sea, dashed to pieces against the rocks of the island.
And the truth?
That I ran away and hid until he stopped looking for me.
We're almost to the ship. Let's get ready. If we can take them by surprise, I think we'll be able to do some good for those prisoners.
Even as Shando speaks, they draw alongside the ship, where a fishing net is hanging down from the deck.
Let's climb aboard. Shando, you go first.
But before they can even reach for the net, a lightning bolt suddenly strikes the water next to the ship with a resounding crash. The longboat takes on a red hue, like it is caught in the baleful glare of the eye of a great dragon. A terrible tearing sound is heard, followed by a great rushing of wind and heat. Angry screams erupt from beneath the waves, and pushing free from the water where the lightning bolt struck is a sleek vessel, its bow pointing towards the sky like a tower, its great belly covered with barnacles and what look like the bones of humans and animals. On its side is written a single word: Audacity.
The Audacity, guys, that's the ship from the journal, the one the pirates sailed to the village.
Oh, no. When we killed that fiend, we broke the contract, and now the curse on the pirates is lifted. They are free to leave hell and return to Faerun.
Wait. Those guys are devil pirates risen from the 9 hells because you two broke an ancient curse? Okay, maybe next time, give me a heads up.
The Audacity looms up and then crashes downward, smashing into the side of the Red Hand's ship. Where it strikes, fire bursts forth like a match struck against stone. Dark shapes leap from the Audacity onto the Red Hand ship, howling with mad rage.
That looks like fun. Doesn't that look like fun?
Sure does. Looks like we have to get this done before the ship burns down. You two go up, and I'll secure the boat so we have a way off this floating pyre.
Karina and Deimos climb the netting and pull themselves onto the deck of the Storm. The whole ship is aglow with an unearthly white radiance that is offset by the thick fog flowing off of the deck. Some of the fog is clearly magical, but some is thicker and darker and comes from fire that is spreading from the Audacity. Deimos and Karina crouch together in the fog, feeling unseen if not entirely safe.
All right, let's take stock here. I've got Uth's silver dagger. Karina, you've got those silver arrows from the old elf, right? I think you might need them.
I think you're right.
Just then, a shape backs out of the fog towards them. Karina, without even thinking, draws an arrow and fires. The silver arrow sinks into flesh, and the creature lets out a cry.
That's just a kobold. Don't waste the arrows.
Then the thing that was chasing it lurches into view.
Holy shit, what is that?
Hard to tell. He looks like he's been through 1,000 fires.
The pirate that now emerges from the fog has a face so disfigured that one of his eyes has been squeezed out of his head to loll lazily on his cheek, while the other squints at them through a bare sliver of puffy flesh. He laughs once, a harsh bark, and then charges towards Karina.
Why is it that all the gnarly ones like you, Karina?
Deimos throws himself between them, ducking low and driving his dagger up into the pirate's belly.
Ah!
The dagger breaks with the impact, snapping off inside the pirate as he rolls and writhes madly around on the deck, slowly dissolving into a pile of ash and bone.
That was fast thinking.
Sure, but it cost me my dagger.
And saved my life.
Yeah, but it cost me my dagger.
Shando pulls himself aboard behind them.
What did I miss?
The usual. You know, me generally being awesome and heroic while saving Karina, and her giving me her undying love in return.
Don't push it.
They all fall silent for a moment. The screams of dying creatures pierces the fog.
Doesn't sound like the fight is going well for the Red Hand. There's no way they can stand up against a force risen from hell itself.
Good. Let him kill the bastards for us.
I don't know. I'd rather fight something I know I can get my hands on. If these pirates are ghosts...
The one we just fought didn't look like a ghost. It went down in a single strike from my dagger.
I think that may have had something to do with the silver in the dagger.
Are ghosts sensitive to silver?
I don't think they are ghosts. From what the journal and the contract said, I think they were alive when they went to hell, and I think they've stayed that way. Though only Asmodeus himself can say what changes they've gone through. I don't like to think about it. I think our best option is to move quickly, find the girl, and get out while both sides are still distracted.
All right, then. We split up. Karina, you're the sneakiest and fastest of us. Why don't you head aft? Try to stay out of sight.
Yeah, and keep your silver arrows handy. Don't go wasting them on more kobolds.
Deimos and I'll head up to the fore. If we find the girl, Deimos will do his mind-talking thingy. If you find the girl...
Then I'll come find you.
No. Get back to the boat first. We'll stay in touch. And when we know you have her, we'll come to you.
And so the plan is set. Karina heads off and soon disappears into the fog. Deimos and Shando are left alone.
Just you and me again, big guy. You ready to tear this ship apart?
Am I ever? Let's break something.
Shando and Deimos move forward boldly through the fog, and soon hear a hobgoblin barking orders ahead of them as multiple shapes become clear. It seems that a hobgoblin general or leader of some kind is giving orders to two other hobgoblins and a couple kobolds.
Sager, pull these troops in order, and anyone who tries to run, slit their throats and throw them overboard. This lack of discipline is unbecoming of a hobgoblin army of the Red Hand.
Yes, Master Ixas.
Master Ixas, did you hear that, Shando? This is the leader of the Red Hand. Now's our chance to take him down. Get ready to summon El Bruto. I'm gonna make my move.
It's Eduardo.
Deimos pushes past the fog to the edge of the group of enemies. He sees Ixas, a hobgoblin wielding a staff carved at the top into the shape of a hand frozen in a clawing motion, and painted the bright red of fresh spilled blood.
Hey, you. Yeah, you're the leader of the Red Hand, right?
Holding his hands out, Deimos summons his powers, and the elements answer. The flames licking at the deck of the ship leap up to form balls of fire in his hands.
One of your goons took a girl from that village, and my buddy Shando wants her back. So let's make this easy. You tell me where she is, and I won't set you on fire.
Leader of the Hand? No, child. I am but a mere emissary, a finger of the power that soon will envelop this world. And yet more than enough to deal with the likes of you. Minions, strike this manling down and feast upon his flesh!
The kobolds and the hobgoblins move forward as one, striking as a well-trained group. But Deimos' power is all around him now, and he lashes out with the pyrokinetically controlled flames, using them like whips. The kobolds fall quickly.
Move forward, cowards! Attack!
We can't. The flames, they burn us.
Fools! Must I do everything?
Ixas waves his hands to cast shield spell after shield spell, barely blocking the whips of fire at the last moment.
You are in over your head, boy!
You've got nowhere to run, Ixas. I've got you pinned.
It's true. Ixas' fur is afire, and he has his back pressed up against the ship's rails, keeping his arms raised to block the worst of the attacks as Deimos unleashes his power. Then a huge hobgoblin, with a vicious scar crossing his left eye, steps between them.
What are you, the Red Hand's personal trainer?
You asked who took the girl. That would be me, Sager, the living nightmare and chosen of Ixas. If I fall in battle, I shall be taken to the heavenly gates of Tiamat, led there by the Red Hand.
Sager smacks out a fire on his leather armor and strides towards Deimos, swinging his mighty bastard sword at the boy. But Shando has come up to stand next to Deimos. He has wrapped a large metal chain around his fist and uses it to deflect the sword.
El Bruto!
Nope, just Shando. I don't need him to win every fight. Won plenty before we all met. I'd rather save him for the big boss.
Meanwhile, Karina has found her way below decks, steadying herself as the ship lurches back and forth.
This ship isn't going to stay seaworthy for long, I fear. I've got to hurry.
She peers inside a large room, a hold of some kind, filled with barrels and boxes. She sees a young girl staring back at her with a frightened face. The child cowers as Karina moves into the room, and Karina realizes what she must be thinking as she sees Karina's devilish features.
Hey, it's okay. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm a friend.
But the girl is not frightened of Karina. She was raised on the island, after all. She has been to the gory feasts and partaken in the rituals. She has seen the creature that moved amongst the tables, sampling the flesh laid out there for it. No, Karina does not scare this girl. But the thing standing behind Karina does.
I see. This ship carries precious cargo.
Karina spins around at the sound of the voice and sees a horrible sight. A pirate is standing at the entrance to the room, a mere 10 feet away. But this is no normal pirate. Half of his face has melted away to reveal the skull beneath.
Captain Reeves Tastain has found you. And now death will follow.
His hands snap up, and Karina acts before she even sees the crossbow he holds, ducking back behind a barrel. A second later, a bolt buries itself in the wood.
You cannot hide, pretty one. Not from me. Not from one who has seen the 9 hells.
Karina pulls 2 daggers free from her sheaths and takes a breath. Then she leaps out from her cover, surprising the hellish captain, driving at him with the knives flashing in both hands. Tastain recovers quickly, using his crossbow like a shield to block the blow.
A treat. You move fast enough.
Reeves throws aside the crossbow and grabs both of Karina's daggers, ignoring the pussy blood that flows over the blades as they dig into his water-pruned flesh.
But do you have your sea legs yet?
He plants a boot against Karina's chest and kicks her viciously, sending her slamming back into a stack of crates.
Ah!
And now, the killing blow.
Then he is on her with a scimitar, thrusting and cutting. She dodges in the nick of time, and his blade slashes open a barrel of wine behind her, a wave of the dark red liquid splashing against her back. Behind Tastain, Karina sees the little girl slip out of the room and run away.
You're fast enough to be interesting. but not enough to survive.
Actually, I just needed to buy someone else a little time.
What?
Karina ducks past Tistane's defenses and grabs his wrist, guiding his blade past her on its next thrust. It embeds deeply into a crate, and while he struggles to pull free, she runs around him and flees. But Tistane is quick. He reaches a hand out and closes it around her shirt collar.
Where are you going? We're still having fun, aren't we?
Are we?
Karina reaches to the quiver at her back and in one smooth motion draws one of the silver arrows Joachim gave to her.
How about now?
She drives its point down into Tistane's kneecap. This the captain seems to feel more than the daggers. He roars in pain and releases her, but she has barely reached the doorway when she hears him charging through the room, giving chase and closing fast.
60 years I have been tortured in the depths of hell. Now I shall give that pain back to you 1,000-fold.
How do you kill something that survived the 9 hells?
Above deck, Deimos and Shando are gaining ground against the mage Ixas and his minions.
Blasts of darkness!
Shando, watch out for those bolts.
I'd have an easier time doing that if this jerk wasn't in my way.
Shando finally punches Sagar so hard he falls out of the line of attack and stumbles backwards into Ixas. Deimos sees his opening. Spreading his hands, the young psychic releases a massive burst of flame. The force of the attack lifts the 2 hobgoblin warriors facing him off of their feet, and they are thrown over the rails and into the stormy seas. Ixas slams down into the deck with a painful groan. Deimos shakes his head, trying to clear it of a sudden loud ringing.
Your nose. It's bleeding.
It's nothing, but in case it is, we should probably finish this fast.
Just then, Deimos feels a flash of panic and hears a scream inside his head.
Karina, she's in trouble.
Go help her. I've got this. I still have one trick up my sleeve.
Deimos nods and retreats, only looking back once. As the fog closes around Shando, he can see the big man reaching into his pocket and drawing out his mask. Deimos turns his focus to finding Karina.
I'm sure he'll be fine.
Deimos leaves, and Shando pulls on his mask.
I am Eduardo, El Ultimo Santo Guerrero.
But nothing happens.
What? Come on! I am Eduardo, El Ultimo Santo!
Still nothing.
No, this has always worked before. What's...
Running through Shando's mind are the words of Yovir Gravekeeper.
Never forget that the mask is your master, not the other way around. And one day, it may betray you.
While Shando stands stunned, Sagar approaches with his blade raised. Shando blocks the first blow with his chained fist, but it is a clumsy move, born out of desperation. When he tries to get out of the way of the second blow, Sagar moves with him and drives the blade up through his gut. Shando coughs painfully and slides down to the deck of the ship, gripping the blade embedded in him.
Leave him, Sagar. It's his companion we must find. Find him and kill him.
Shando gasps as Sagar withdraws the blade and walks away. He tries to lift his head, but everything is suddenly so heavy.
You won't keep me down. My friends will get me up, and then I'll break you.
While this is happening, Deimos has reached the stairs going down into the bowels of the ship, following Karina's psychic emanations like a dog tracking a scent. He can also feel the thing chasing her.
Hot damn, whatever you found down here, Karina, it's got a nasty psychic aura.
Deimos flinches as Karina suddenly appears at the bottom of the stairs.
Palor above, don't scare me like that.
Deimos, he's right behind me!
Karina rushes up the stairs towards Deimos. and behind her is Testain. The horror looks up at Deimos, and both sides of his half-skinned skull match briefly as he smiles.
Karina, I have to take this one.
What? No! He'll kill you!
Nobody else can stop him. He's beyond the rest of you.
No, we fight together.
Listen, Shando's fighting alone up on the deck. He may need your help.
But
There's no more good you can do here. Leave. Trust me, I've got this. Go help Shando.
Testain charges, his scimitar brandished in front of him as he takes the stairs 2 at a time. Deimos thrusts forward a hand, blasting him backwards with a concussive wave of energy, then jumps after him. Karina turns and runs across the deck of the ship.
Good. Now it's just the two of us.
Don't play games with me, boy. You're already bleeding.
It's just a nosebleed. I've had worse.
You've got bravery, lad. But you also don't stand a snowball's chance in the 9 hells. Believe me, I've been there.
Ooh, if I go, can I get a cool skull face like yours?
There is a cracking sound as Deimos sends a blast of pure psychic energy at Testain, ripping the floor apart in a line that stretches from Deimos' feet to the dread captain.
Get ready, because I'm sending you back down to the depths of the sea.
Fool! The sea holds no sway over me. I will take the Audacity. I will destroy all who dare to sail these waters. And when I have cleared the moon sea of intruders, I shall turn to the ports. Every dockside bar, every brothel will service my crew and then burn as their payment.
Well, I'm definitely not letting you have all the brothels.
Deimos holds out his hand and tightens it into a fist, envisioning the Pirate King's skull cracking inside of it. Testain stumbles back suddenly, a horrible groan escaping him like the creaking of timbers on an old ship.
Those who oppose me will face endless torment, a suffering without any hope of death.
Deimos grits his teeth and pushes his mind harder, focusing all of his concentration on turning his desire into reality and crushing the life from this dread captain. But Testain does not fall. Deimos needs more power. He reaches into his side pack and pulls out the jade statue. Testain pauses, a sudden fear passing over his one good eye.
Where did you find that?
Deimos doesn't answer. He is concentrating too hard, the very walls of the ship creaking with his power as the statue begins to glow brightly in his hands.
No! Stop!
And then something gives. Blood pools beneath Deimos' eyes and streams from his nostrils. He weakens, and Testain straightens.
Nice try, lad. You almost had me,
Testain walks up to Deimos and lifts him by his neck.
but you just weren't strong enough.
Then he drives his scimitar into Deimos' lung, causing the young man to spit up blood as he tries to suck in air. Testain drops him to the floor and kneels beside him.
You are drowning, boy. Drowning on your own blood as sure as if the sea herself were pressing between your lips. But don't worry. One who controls the power of the statue can't die so easily. And I need a new first mate.
The last thing Deimos sees is the pirate's gloved hand reaching for his face. He tries to suck in air for a scream, but before he can, his mouth fills with the taste of blood. Up on deck, Karina feels the heat of fire as it consumes the storm. All is chaos around her. She limps, but forces herself to run until she trips over something and crashes painfully to the ground. She looks and sees...
Shando? Get up! Please get up!
You escaped me once, girl, back on the island. But there's no one to help you now.
Striding through the smoke and fire is Sager. He swings his bastard sword. Karina rolls and the blade bites into the deck where she had lain.
Ha ha! You look like a fish flopping around out of water.
Sager swings again. Karina rolls and leaps to her feet, then forces herself to run again.
There's nowhere to escape to, little devil. This ship will be our pyre. I shall take you to hell with me as an offering to the god of war.
She tears through flame and fog and ends up at the railing to the ship. For the first time, she can breathe fresh air and see the night sky. The sea is still raging with storm, and riding that storm is a figure in a lone longboat. The very longboat that Shando had tied up for them. Karina squints and sees that it is a hobgoblin holding a staff with a design of a red hand at its top. Ixas.
Get out of my boat!
There you are. Do you intend to take me down with a single arrow?
You? No.
She fires at the boat. Her arrow speeds through the night, across the sea, and drives itself into the heart of Ixas. The hobgoblin looks down, incredulous, at the arrow sticking through his chainmail shirt, and then he topples over the side of the longboat. For a moment, the red hand of his staff bobs above the surface of the water, and then it too is gone.
Ixas fled from the battle. He was a coward. Good to see him fall. It's just you and me now.
Actually, just you.
In one motion, Karina throws herself over the edge of the ship. It is a long ways down, long enough for Karina to turn her fall into a controlled dive and break through the surface of the water like, well, an arrow piercing armor. The sea rushes in to drown her. Karina surfaces against the side of the longboat and hurriedly grabs a hold of its edge. She's about to pull herself up when something slams into her in the water, grabbing at her with two hands. For a brief moment, she believes she is being attacked, so harrowing have been the events of this night. But then she sees brown hair and hears a small cough and realizes she's being gripped tightly by the little girl.
You survived!
Karina finds the last bit of strength left within her and uses it to lift the girl into the boat, then pulls herself up behind her. The girl huddles, terrified, making herself as small as possible.
I suppose a better person would comfort you, but I don't think I can be that person. Not tonight.
Karina stares back at the hobgoblin ship, in time to see its glow fade and then go out. The fog around it lifts, and for a moment she can see, backlit by fire, Sager grappling with two pirates, driving his blade through one of their midriffs, even as the other cuts into his back with a cutlass.
The red hand to Stain. Varric, I won't forgive any of you for this. Not ever.
The waves carry Karina's boat further and further away from the carnage, until all that she can see is a distant glow on the horizon. Then that too is swallowed in the storm, and Karina is left in darkness. She is cold, and despite the girl cowering in the other end of the boat, utterly alone.
Thank you so much for listening to A Lemon May Vary. Jonathan Starr plays the narrator and several of the NPCs, including Sagar and Reeves Testing. Tyler Gibson plays Shando and El Ultimo Santo. Kevin Barami plays Damus, and Morganite plays Karina. The voice of Ixas was played by Alex Babcock. A special thank you to Tabletop Audio and Punch Deck for providing music. This episode marks the end of our first season called Preludes and Portents. This isn't the end of the story, but we are going to be taking a break from the show to focus on our other podcasts, The Bestiary and Adventurous Appetizers. If you have enjoyed hearing the adventures of our group so far, you can read the full story on our website, alignmentmayvary.com, where you can also subscribe to our other podcasts. You can also support us by becoming a member on Patreon. Would you like us to bring back this show? If so, let us know on our Facebook page or by sending us an email at alignmentmayvary@gmail.com. In the meantime, may you avoid critical failures, have many critical successes, and above all, keep on rolling. Take care.
Shando gasps as Sager withdraws the blade and walks away. He tries to lift his head, but everything is suddenly so heavy.
I'm sorry, Miss Nanako. I can't take you to the beach like I promised.